Where are we coming from? At the end of the 19th century of colonial expansion? That's not exactly a scientific question. It's more like an undercurrent war about who's the daddy. Despite Darwin's sober prediction, the cradle of mankind is in Africa. But in those days, when the empire was still in full bloom, who wants to recognize that their ancestors are from the Dark Continent? So, scientists from all over the world look to their own backyards, eager to dig up the first man of his country. And so it was. The Great Britain is the first to hit the line. In 1912, amateur archaeologist Charles Dawson claimed that he found a missing link between man and Apias in the Piltdown area of England. He came up with the perfect Piltdown man fossil, a huge head as big as any modern humans, with an ape-like jaw. It was a perfect fit for the Eurocentric imagery of the time. Our noble ancestors must have had a brilliant brain first, and only then did he get up slowly. As for walking upright, it's just a secondary skill that was acquired later. The discovery made the whole country of England rejoice. They could finally say with pride, it's their ancestors at the forefront of human evolution. The spotlight of glory shines over London, while a first cry from Africa goes unheard. South Africa, 1924. The young anatomy professor Raymond Dart found a tiny skull embedded in limestone from a box delivered by a quarryman. Town toddler. The skull is the opposite of the conclusion of the Piltdown man. It's got a pathetically small brain, but it has a large occipital foramen. It's amazingly located right below the base of the skull. And this is the proof that we're walking upright. Dart is thrilled to announce to the world that humanity was the first to stand, and the brain got bigger afterwards. But his voice was drowned in the relentless mockery of British academia. In front of the noble and intelligent Piltdown man, this little monkey from the African colonies is nothing. Dart is isolated. His town kids have been in the dust for decades. But here's the beauty of history. There's always a bunch of crazies, willing to do anything for the truth. Louis Leakey, the fossil hunter who's gone off the deep end. He's convinced of Dart's judgment determines that the cradle of mankind is in Africa. Louis took his wife, Mary Leakey, searching under the scorching sun of the East African Rift Valley for decades. Finally, the persistence of them, and even his son and daughter-in-law, paid off. After discovering the Nutcracker Man, Homo habilis, and a large number of stone tools, this shook up the Piltdown man, representing before having a big brain. Our ancestors were already creating with their hands. The real turning point, like a belated justice, descended in 195, with the advent of new dating technology. Piltdown man, after 40 years of glory, turned out to be nothing but an artificial monster created by splicing and dyeing medieval human skulls and ape jawbones. The reason the entire scientific community has been deluded for so long is that they were blindsided by preconceived desires. They want the Piltdown man to be real so badly, so much so that they only saw the evidence they wanted to see. Piltdown man catered to the then undercurrent of racism and Eurocentrism. They don't want to admit that they are also the children of African people. Ethiopia, 1974. The young American paleoanthropologist Donald Johanson discovered a complete degree of up to 40% of an ancient human skeleton. That night, in the camp's tape recorder, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles was playing over and over again. Thus, this female Australopithecus living 3.2 million years ago was named Lucy. Lucy's pelvis and leg bones is an irrefutable proof that she's a fully upright walker, but her head's just a little bit bigger than a chimpanzee. The discovery of Lucy marks the end of the brain or feet first debate, but it creates a bigger problem. Why are we standing up? To solve this, we must follow Lucy's bones, recreate the story that changed everything. But unlike a chimpanzee's shaky, unsteady gait, her pendulum-like legs and bowl-shaped pelvis make for a highly efficient, energy-saving device. She's not going very fast. As our species evolved, so did the size of our brains. Our descendants developed ever larger heads, putting increasing pressure on a passage that had no room to grow. The result is a tragic and ironic twist of evolution. In order to survive the demands of bipedalism, nature made a brutal compromise. It shortened the gestation period, forcing human babies to be born far earlier than is biologically ideal. For nearly 7 million years, across the vast land of Africa, there have been countless Lusus. In distant corners of the world, they all made the same bold gamble, walking upright. They stood up, looked to the same sky, and struggled for survival, only to fall silently, one by one. We, Homo sapiens, are the last ones standing. It has been a brutal race to the bottom, and we're the only survivors. So Lucy's story isn't the genesis of any one people. It's the shared destiny of all who chose to stand upright. Inherent in this choice was not perfection, but fragility, physiological instability, and the deep spiritual hunger it created. We are not great because we are flawless. On the contrary, we became who we are because we were vulnerable, because the cost of standing up demanded greatness from us. That's why the head, once raised to scan the horizon, now turns to the stars. Our feet, shaped for endurance over time, have carried us not only across continents, but eventually to the moon. Walking upright wasn't the end of our evolution. It was the beginning of everything. A spark of endless curiosity, a constant drive forward, always asking, always traveling. This is where the human journey truly began.